ذكر دوحة عز منها عطر العفة فاحت أبصرها تختال بهاء يكسوها القرآن وشاحا.
Now, anyway, let's just stop here for a second and talk about two things. Number one, the concept of barakah. Alright? There is this concept within our deen, which is basically called barakah. And barakah means abundance. Alright? And there's a famous story that our shaykh, they talk about. So I'll just tell you, just to highlight the concept. There was one time there was a man, and he had a dream. Okay? He wasn't a very wealthy man. He had a dream, and in his dream, a man came to him and said, go to this tree and dig, and you'll find 1,000 dirhams. Some number, let's say 1,000. Okay, I don't remember the exact number from the narration, but you'll find 1,000 dirhams. So then, in his dream, he asked the man, will there be barakah in this 1,000 dirhams? So then the man says, no. So he wakes up and he tells his wife, hey, I had this dream, and in this dream, I saw that I should dig under this tree and I'll find 1,000 dirhams. So the wife's like, go. And then he's like, but I asked if there would be barakah, and then the man said no. So then he decided he wasn't going to go after it, because more important than what you have is the blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts within whatever you have. More important than the amount is the blessing. So anyway, then the person had a dream the next night. And in that dream he sees that there's 100 dirhams under a tree. And he's told where to dig to find those 100 dirhams. And he asks the man who guides him where to dig, will there be barakah? And then he's told no. So he wakes up the next morning. He tells his wife, I saw this dream. I was told to dig under this tree. There would be 100 dirhams. So then the wife says, go. And he says, but he said there'd be no barakah. So he didn't want that either. So anyway, the next night he goes to sleep, and then he wakes, and in his sleep he has a dream, and he's told that there's 1 dirham under a tree. So then the man explains where the dirham is, and he turns to the man and he says, will there be barakah? He said, yes. In 1 dirham there'll be barakah. So anyway, the man goes to the tree. The next morning he wakes up, he tells his wife, and his wife's like, 1 dirham? What's that all about? You lost out on 1,000 to begin with. This is getting to be ridiculous. So anyway, but he says, but there's going to be barakah. So anyway, he goes, he digs the 1 dirham. Now he's got 1 dirham, he's a poor man, so he's got hot pockets, right? You know what hot pockets is? When you get your paycheck and you don't have much money, you want to go out and spend it on at least something, right? You want to feel like you have something new. So his pocket's hot. So he goes back, on the way home, he says, I'm going to buy fish. 1 dirham, I can buy a fish, I'm going to eat fish tonight. So anyway, he goes to the market, on the way home he buys the fish. Then he takes the fish back to the wife, and the wife's like, oh, we had 1,000 dirhams, you brought home a fish? What kind of thing is this? So she cuts open the fish to cook it for her husband, and there's this rare blue diamond inside, worth, like hundreds of thousands of dirhams. So anyway, in that there was barakah. I mean, that's a silly example, but anyway, the point is that a lot of times we're after amount, right? But it's not really the amount, it's the blessing present in whatever you have. So we should always seek barakah in things. Now, this story of Halima, basically she was nothing, and this decision wrote her into the books of history, such that every generation until the end of time will discuss her name, her story, her tribe, her situation. Her tribe is not discussed otherwise. No one would even talk about this tribe. She brought honor to her tribe, right? And she brought honor to her family. And all of this was based on one simple decision. Now, what happened in her decision was that she agreed to accept the Prophet ﷺ. So, in general, one thing that we can learn from this is that anytime you carry anything associated with the Prophet ﷺ, that's what brings in barakah. Okay? So, when an individual carries the sunnah, there's barakah. When an individual carries some aspect of the deen, there's barakah. So, that's what defines barakah for us, is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So you should never turn on the sunnah thinking that you're going to gain something else, because actually it's in the sunnah that there will be barakah in whatever we pursue.